special edition of Tazzy TV. Beyonce's dad's family was from Chattooga, Georgia. In the beginning, Chattooga was Native American territory. Most of the Native Americans were forced out during the Trail of Tears, where they walked to places like Arkansas and settled there. In the 1830s, the Irish became majority in Chattooga County. 30% of the people in Chattooga County were enslaved. Beyonce's dad was a Nose. The Nose family was enslaved in Chattooga County. Here's a picture of Matthew Nose and his family. Beyonce's grandparent, John B. Nose, owned Beyonce's ancestors. They worked on his plantation. After they were freed, they took the Nose name. Henry and Elmira Nose was Matthew Nose's great-grandparents. Henry and Elmira had 4 kids. 3 were born into slavery. The 4th one wasn't. His name was Ike. He married Sarah Dixon. They had a son named Taylor Nose. Taylor married Girlie Mae Miller. They had a son named Matthew Nose. Matthew Nose and Helen Hogg had little Matthew Nose, which is Beyonce's dad. Here's a photo of Beyonce's granddad. Her granddad was a truck driver. Her grandmother worked as a maid and also was a part of the civil rights movement. They had no indoor plumbing. Matthew Nose got a scholarship playing basketball in high school. He went to college and got 3 bachelor degrees, 1 in arts, 1 in economics, and 1 in business administration. He met Beyonce's mother, Tina Nose, and they had their first baby, Beyonce, and later Solange. Beyonce and her sister Solange attended private schools, lived in mansions, and went to ballerina classes. Her mom, Tina, was a salon owner and a seamstress. Beyonce's mom comes from a lineage of all light-skinned women who are breeded with light-skinned men. In the beginning, one of her great-great-great-grandmothers was a high-maintenance, dark-skinned slave woman who had 13 kids by her masters. He was a rich sugar plantation owner and Beyonce's great-great-great-great-grandfather. Him and his family played a big part in shaping the Creole and Cajun culture in Louisiana. From Arcadia by way of France and settled in Louisiana. Let's talk about the process of selective breeding. During slavery and colonialism, a lot of African women who were dark complexion and a lot of Taino-Median women who were dark complexion were owned by their masters from Europe. And they were forced sometimes or consensually sometimes had children with their owner. They couldn't tell their owner, no, I don't want to breed with you, because they were legally owned by their owner, so the owner can have their way with their property and do what they want with their property legally. Now, during slavery ended, some of the mixed people who were of African descent decided to do a process of selective breeding, which means you don't breed with anybody whose complexion is darker than yours. The Dominicans did it. Some of the Dominicans did it. Some of the Puerto Ricans did it. Some of the Mexicans did it. But like I said, before they decided to do it on their own, it was forced upon them during colonialism, when the woman had no choice. but to breed with her master if he decided that's what he wanted to do. Because they were owned by their master, they were legally their property. So, after slavery ended, a lot of the mixed people decided to continue. After slavery ended, it resulted in a lot of mixed children, and some of them decided to not breed with anyone darker than them, doing a system of selective breeding. I'm assuming they made this decision because of the racist and prejudice that goes on sometimes in the world, and they figured that their kids would have better opportunities, higher appraisals on their homes, they would benefit from white supremacy if they were of a lighter complexion. So they decided to not breed with anyone darker than them. I'm sure some of them didn't do it based on the person's color, they just breed with who they love. But in some cases, that was the case, selective breeding. Now, the African Americans has just, in the last 100 years, started to do the selective breeding process because segregation ended in the 1960s, and before that, it was illegal to breed with someone from another nationality in America. So now that segregation has ended, the selective breeding process has started in America. Beyonce's mom's side of the family, as you can see, did breed with anybody darker than them. Beyonce and her mother broke that mold. Beyonce's mother Tina breeding with Matthew Knowles, and Beyonce breeding with Jay-Z, having her twin babies and Blue Ivy. Adelia and Eugene were Beyonce's great-grandparents.
One of their children was Beyoncé's grandmother. Her name was Agnes Darion. She married Loomis. Beyoncé. Beyoncé, meaning beyond others, in French, was his last name, which later became Beyoncé's first name. Beyoncé's grandmother Agnes was a seamstress. She moved her family to Texas. Her daughter Tina attended private schools and also grew up to be a seamstress. Like her mother, Tina designed most of her daughter Beyoncé's outfits for her stage performances and the outfits in her Darion collection. The American Journal of Human Genetics says the average African American DNA is 73% African, 24% European, and 0.8% Native American. Beyonce might be my cousin. My biological grandfather's ancestors were also from France. They fled during the French Revolution to Arcadia, and they were the first settlers before the Louisiana Purchase in the French quarters. Their last name is the Arsenaults. My great-grandmother traveled to Chicago. She was Creole. She came to Chicago because the Jim Crow law went into effect down south, meaning if you were 1/8 blood of African descendants, you couldn't have white privilege. and you couldn't be considered white any longer. So Margaret Arsenault, my great-grandmother, and Henry Nance, my great-grandfather, came to Chicago and settled in the Ida B. Wells homes. All I knew was the Jamesons since the day I was born. My grandmother was married to my grandfather, who was a Jameson. I was adopted by the Jamesons. But I always wondered who my biological and blood family was. So I researched them. I learned that they were refugees who fled France during the French Revolution, settled in Arcadia, and then what is known as New Orleans. But they settled there before the Louisiana Purchase. They played a big part in the Art Deco style and the French quarters, being that they were the first settlers there. I also learned 99% of them come from New Orleans. Basically, all Arsenaults are related. I was able to do a genealogy search all the way back to France. Here's one of my cousins, Bethany Arsenault. Fatal Attraction did an episode on her called Blood on the Bayou, and TV1 did In Broad Daylight movie about her story, where a family of kidnapped Louisiana woman kills abductor and then rescue. She was 29 years old, just picking up her 2-year-old from the daycare when her son's father abducted her and was killed. Congratulations to my cousin Haley Arsenault, who is a St. Jude cancer survivor and the youngest to travel to space.
Beyoncé is a very phenomenal woman. Unlike most artists, she wrote and produced most of her number one hits. She sold 100 million records. Beyonce's estimated net worth is 300 million or more. Her and her husband often go on tour, selling tickets for $300 or more per seat. In the beginning of her career, she used to go on tour and open up for acts Drew Hill and SWV.